Alright class, today's notes may be broken into 2 videos, just depends on how long it takes. I'll try to keep each video under 5 minutes. We're going to go with, these are the notes on solving 2-step equations. Now, just like on the 1-step, we're going to actually use the inverse operations, which inverse means opposite. And that's going to be how we can move either the x's or the numbers from one side to the other. The opposite of addition is subtraction. Subtraction is addition. Positive is negative. Multiplication is division. Division is multiplication. And then negative, the opposite of that is the positives, just like what we did yesterday. Now, our first step is going to be to move the term or the number that's by itself. You want to get the numbers on one side and then you want to get the variable on the other. You're going to move the term always by either adding or subtracting to get it over there. Now the second step, you want to move the factor or the coefficient, and you're going to move that by multiplying or dividing. So, remember, you're doing the inverse operations, and just like what we did yesterday, whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other side. So, let's look at these first few ones. All of these have either adding or subtracting. The inverse of addition is subtraction. The inverse of multiplication is division. And they all have multiplying because you have a number touching a letter. Yesterday we talked about how the numbers touching a letter, that number is a coefficient, and that means that letter is being multiplied by that number. So all of these problems here have a multiplication step. First, we're going to move the number to its own. So let's move this 5, instead of plus 5, we're going to do the opposite, minus 5 to move it over here. So that's our first step. Now, 5 plus negative 5, or 5 minus 5, goes to 0. And then we got 11 minus 5, which is 6. Everything else bring on down. So we've got 2x equals 6 so far. We still don't have x by itself though. So what we're going to do now is the inverse of multiplication. We're going to divide. So divide this side by 2, divide this side by 2. These are going to cancel and just leave you with x. And then 6 divided by 2 equals 3. Now, when we get down to this step, I always want you going back and checking your answer. So all we have to do is plug it in to check it. So we're going to do 2, instead of times x, we're going to plug in 3. So 2 times 3 plus 5, and it should equal 11. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 5 does equal 11. So we know we did it right. We're going to do the same thing on these other ones. So negative 3x plus 5 equals 26. First, you want to move your number that's by itself. So minus 5 minus 5. Boom, and we get 3x, sorry, negative 3x, don't forget that negative, is equal to 21. And now, we got to get rid of this multiplied by negative 3, so we're going to divide by negative 3. Those cancel, and then we get x is equal to 7. Now, on this next one, all of these have a minus or a plus with a negative. So we're going to have to do the inverse of that, and we're going to add to move the number. Inverse of negative is also adding, and inverse of multiplying is dividing. So for this one, move your number first. Move your numbers first that are not attached to x. So minus 5, the opposite of that is plus 5. Cancel those. Bring it down. 11 plus 5 is 16. So I've got negative 4x equals 16. Now I'm going to divide by negative 4. Divide both sides by -4. Those cancel, and we get x is equal to -4. Once again, when you get there, check it by plugging it back in. So -4 times 4 minus 5, and it should equal 11. So this comes out to -16. Oh, sorry, times a -4. So that would be positive 16 minus 5, and 16 minus 5 is 11. Sorry about missing that negative. Be very careful as you're doing this. I'm going to pause the video here and go ahead and try these next ones, and I'll put the answers on in just a few moments. Here are the answers I got for the top part of the notes. Check and see if your work matched up with that. If you have questions, post a comment either on the class page or send me a message and I'll get back to you. This is where I'm going to split the video. Look for part 2 in just a moment.